Stories are who we are. We are constantly expressing and finding meaning by retelling something that happened to us. We're talking about our childhood. We're talking about a movie that we saw. We're continually retelling in order to connect with each other.
I think through our stories, we're able to not only hear our own voice, but be able to get our voices reflected back to us. As we share our stories, more people start to share their stories, and we share the stories with each other. We're all growing together, learning together. Sharing your stories is the most important thing I think we can do.
When you express yourself authentically, you connect with others in the community. Your story has an impact on others if you share it in the most authentic way.
Welcome to the 2023 BraveMaker Film Festival.
To be a BraveMaker means to have courage, and you have to have courage to make a film. You have to have the trust in yourself. So anybody who's making a film is a BraveMaker.
To be a BraveMaker, it means that I'm surrounded by a community of people who are brave enough to tell stories that have been untold. Brave enough to tell stories to inform, to educate, to keep this world moving in a more progressive place.
So this is Nader, and this is what he's written. I'm reading on his behalf. My film is faith. When I was making the film throughout the process, I kept saying 3 words: I am able. And since we are at the BraveMaker Festival, I want to be brave and say these 3 words in the microphone with my own voice.
Caitlin Durkin!
Trust that whatever your vision is, even if no one else can see it, is right.
The thing that has the history to subvert the industry is independent film.
Being part of the change where we see more stories of people that are not as represented, people that haven't even been paid attention to, that's what being a BraveMaker means to me.
It's not about what you get at the end of your journey, but it's about who you become in the process. It's about the transformation and the growth that cultivates within you.
I believe stories can change the world. And brave stories are the ones that do it best, and we are those stories.
I am a BraveMaker.
I am a BraveMaker.
Sen Tarik Sen.
Yo soy un creador valiente.
I am a true BraveMaker.
I am a BraveMaker.
We are BraveMakers.
Welcome, episode 218. We are live with the BraveMaker Show, and that video that we just shared, if you're listening to this only on the audio, you heard, but it just always inspires me to keep doing these things that we're doing. I'm so freaking grateful that we have been around for going on 6 years now, telling stories, having the hope to be brave and bring those stories to life out into the world. I'm Tony Gapistone. My pronouns are he, him, his. I'm an actor, director, writer, filmmaker in Redwood City, California, which is the San Francisco Bay Area. And I'm a Caucasian guy wearing a yellow mustard beanie with yellow mustard glasses in my brown cream sweater in our BraveMaker studio with the pink words BraveMaker and pink and green and faux and stripes and lots of stuff happening behind me. And today we get to have a special guest from New York City. So hang on. But before we do that, I get to have a co-host back with me, my friend and collaborator and fellow filmmaker, just even last night, Priscilla Lamb, everybody.
Hey, y'all. Hey.
Priscilla.
Priscilla Lamb. Yes, I am so excited to be back on the podcast co-hosting. Thank you, Tony, for having me back. But if you don't know what I look like or what I am situated at, I am in my home. I have a yellow velvet curtain. I have also a white wall. I also have a piece of art that's black and cream. And I am Black and Asian, light skin, curly long hair, and I have a white You Are the Story BraveMaker shirt on.
Priscilla, before we bring our new friend into the pod, let me ask you quick reflections as we're ending the year. We just did a short film together last night through the BraveMaker Academy. We have been talking the past few weeks, you and I, specifically about 2024. We're going to Sundance as attendees to schmooze it.
Excited!
Whoa, we still have... Yes!
The ropes.
Oh my gosh, Priscilla was supposed to come with us in 2020, but we all know what happened then. So this is second time's a charm. We're talking big things for 2024 and new things. Let me just ask you, what's a quick reflection from 2024 that you're like so proud of yourself for, and what's something you're looking forward to in the future?
So quick reflection of 2023, this past year, I set out to start my own film collective called 11th Hour Creatives. And I had no budget, no real structure other than like just a Google Doc. And we created some short films and they came out beautiful, and some of them are running through film festivals. So I'm just proud of myself for creating something with what I have where I'm at today.
Heck yeah.
And
you did it.
Yeah, and I
did
did
so
it.
many cool things. You are such a creator. I'm so proud to partner with you, and you inspire me. Like that's like like-minded things. We come together like, let's create. What are you excited about for 2024? What's something that's on your goal list?
Really, honestly, I don't really have like a goal list other than to continue to like elevate and grow my current path. Like continue to build my craft as an actor, as a film producer, and push my limits. So just do more of what I did in 2023. That's really it. Like I don't have, well, at least like I submitted a short film to Sundance. It was to get to Sundance, but I didn't get into it. So it's like, but it's just to shoot my shot. Like I do that though. I shoot my shot.
Shoot it.
And we're gonna see what makes the basket this year.
Priscilla and I both on Friday night, we were at an event for BraveMaker, and we were both like, okay, Sundance, they should be selecting those things pretty soon. When are we going to hear? And we were like, let's hope. We'll hope for the best, because they're announcing December 6th, and that was December 1st. And then we both got emails at like 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. that night. I got 4 rejections, y'all, but it's okay. We're still going to go. We're still going to have good attitudes. We're going to make connections, and I don't care. I'm always inspired going to Sundance. They can reject me all they want. Someday I hope I get in. We get in, but I'm going to keep going because it's so encouraging. Yeah. All right, let's talk to our new friend on the pod, episode 218, Ashley Lauren ELROD. Hey,
hello everyone. I'm so happy to be here.
Let's have you do your introduction. You get your spotlight.
Amazing. Hi, I'm Ashley Lauren ELROD. Pronoun she, her, and my background is a blue backdrop, and I am wearing a camel tone hat. I have black locks, braids. I am a Black, Indigenous, and Irish woman, and I am wearing a camel pinky type sweater.
Right on. Well, welcome. We're so glad to connect with you all the way from New York City, get to know you a little bit. I'll start off the questioning because I always like to ask the backstory. You are this multi-hyphenate, all these things. How in a short is possible for all your amazing years of life, how did you get into the creative many things that you are doing? Yeah. Casting, acting, producing, all the things. How to start? What's your origin story?
Origin story, short and sweet. I started off in the arts when I actually was a kid, dancing and in figure skating as well as modeling, which I got into in high school. And I also did everything in the back end as well. So I loved building sets and creating costumes and sewing and doing makeup and getting into all of the things. Transferred to college and decided to go to art school. Went to Columbia College Chicago. Shout out.
Love Chicago. I'm from Chicago too. Yes.
Yes. So went there. I actually ended up doing 2 majors, double majoring in technical theater and acting. So while I was acting, I was also learning everything behind the scenes in regards to running productions, from lighting to wardrobe, drafting, building sets, running shows for lighting, and much, much more. And that's how it, like, yeah, it's led me to where I am today.
And now today, you kind of hold the term for yourself, the title, you're my industry auntie. Talk to me about why you chose industry auntie and what does that mean? Because when I think of auntie, I think of somebody I can go to anytime, ask questions about life, get direction from. So please share why you gave yourself that title, or your fan base also gave you
That's
that.
such a good one, by the way.
Yeah, it is. I have been through a lot in this crazy industry. I started modeling when I was in high school, when I was a senior, and kind of was exposed to a lot of different things. I was, signed with a pretty big modeling agency back then, and I had to go through like getting weighed, weekly, and I was 0 to 2 size, and it just was like a lot on my mental health and my body and my self-esteem, and then also just going through things professionally when I got into acting and being in the midst of politics and just like hearing certain things or being told certain things when I was on set. I realized pretty quickly, like, it's a pretty dark industry in some ways. It can be wonderful when you're working with the right people, but it can be very treacherous when you're not. So I have dedicated my life and what I do to help other people, especially parents and kids, to make sure they're being taken care of, making sure that they're just educated about the spaces that they're walking into. So that's very important to me.
And I love that you've also not just are offering this advice and wisdom from a place of experience, but you've also went to go get board certified and became an official mental health coach, offering private coaching sessions.
Yes.
I think that's awesome that you also got an education background on that. Please talk about like all the education you already have. What drove you to getting that certification and making that a stream of income? Honestly, not that that was the purpose, but talk about that and share about that.
Yeah. Well, I got certified during COVID because, we were all in COVID and we were all at home, and, there was pretty much nothing to really do besides create content or, get a master's degree or something. So I decided to get, certified in mental health coaching. Another background about me is I've been a pastoral coach and counselor for over 10 years. So it wasn't kind of random for me to jump into it. I've been helping women who are SA survivors and CSA survivors all of that time, but I wanted to be more equipped, especially since when COVID hit, things escalated for a lot of families and couples and just children, people in general, in regards to that space, unfortunately. So I wanted to be able to, be on the front lines and be able to help people in regards to that way. And then it just naturally transitioned into my industry coaching as well, because I realized a lot of people who are coming to me needed a lot of mindset help and needed to get over some hurdles outside of acting and outside of industry stuff. So I like to mesh the two, and it's been working really beautifully.
Awesome.
Can you talk about those things specifically? We both, Priscilla and I, do a lot of filmmaking, and as BraveMaker, our mission is to really talk about brave stories and to elevate those brave stories, which aren't always easy to tell. So I guess I want to know two things. For those who might not know some of those terms or acronyms, could you talk about that?
Yes.
And then some of your practices, like how are you making these spaces? Because I'm seeing and loving the conversations that happen even on set, before, after, during we're filming some of these stories that might be triggering or harmful, re-triggering or reharming, right? So I guess talk about what those terms are and then kind of how you go about that, or some of your thoughts around what that looks like in your work.
Awesome. Yeah, so CSA is child sexual abuse or assault, and SA is sexual assault. So I primarily work with survivors of either in regards to that realm, as well as heavy and suicide prevention. And in regards to these stories, I tell mine a lot personally, and also we've been working on a lot of different projects in regards to this too. It's always great to have someone in my position or someone else who's certified. I believe when you are writing these stories and filming them and working on them, I think it's great to have a consultant on hand for something such as this or any type of story that's really like super uber specific, even if it's cultural, certain backgrounds that not everyone may understand and needs that person who does. I think it's always important to have someone like that on sets in pre-production while you're writing your script. I've actually been a consultant for a few projects where I've had to come in and say, hey, this seems a little whitewashed, I've had to actually do that, or this is totally off par with how you would speak to someone if they were a therapist and someone was coming to them for services. I actually just had a conversation with someone a couple weeks ago about that. There was like a line in the script, and I'm actually playing a therapist in the film, and I just told her from a different perspective, I would not say this, and a good therapist wouldn't, or counselor or coach, just because it's a little daunting for the patient or client to hear that. So it opened her perspective. She just didn't know, and it was good for me to be able to tell her that. So I think it's always helpful to have people who know those things to be able to help you write and be in that process.
And for many people that don't know your background in film, you actually have your production company called Visionary Women's Productions. And you guys, like, I want to know the inception of it, right? Because like you said, you do so many things, and so many things have had great fruit come from the tree that you planted. So I want to hear about the inception of your production company. But also you worked with, like, one that stood out to me is like huge brands like Dove, where you guys did their commercial in 2023 for, and you guys actually were Emmy nominated. How does one land a Dove campaign, or did you have to put yourself out there to get it? Like, how does that connection happen? Because that's huge. Dove is a big brand, and I think that's so awesome, and congratulations.
Thank you. I really, really appreciate that. Yeah, so the inception, like just keeping it short and sweet, was honestly, I started Visionary Women Productions in college, my senior year, and it was with my friends. It was a big collective of women who all were super duper talented. And I was just like, hey, we should just create stuff. It's like we have amazing photographers, and my friend was an awesome makeup artist, and my other friend could design clothes like no one's business. And I loved art direction and creative development. So I started planning out all of these shoots, which were actually used for my two photographer friends' finals and all of their fun little projects. And, they were just really beautiful. And we started submitting them to like editorials and stuff. And they ended up getting picked up. And yeah, like Vogue picked up a big series that we did, and Vibe magazine, and a whole bunch of other editorials. So we were just kind of like, okay.
You can't see my face right now. This is Priscilla, you guys. My jaw is on the floor. So you really shot your shot, in a sense.
Yeah, I had no idea what I was doing at all, but I just was like, I am gonna do this. And then it was just kind of like, okay, this is gonna become a business, I think. And at the time I was interning at a talent agency, and I was learning so much there that we weren't being taught in school. So I brought that knowledge to my peers, and we started doing headshots and cover letter sessions for all of our peers for a very feasible fee, because, broke college students. But it was like the beginning of our first part of our business. That was the inception back in the day of Visionary Women.
So encouraging. You are doing it.
Thank you. Thank you. We've definitely gone through a lot of transitions, for sure.
Tony, we can't hear you. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, your audio went out. While Tony's doing the
Sorry,
audio.
I think I lost my
There
mic.
you
Can
go.
you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you. I don't know how much you just heard, but I was asking you, Ashley Lauren, about the practicals of starting something and making it, happen. We know as creatives, this life is hard. It's so much work. There's so much rejection.
Yes.
And we always ask people like, what have you learned along the way? What are some things that you would do differently? So I definitely want to know that part of it. But what is some things that are like working like right now? Like things that you go, this is what is making us successful. This is how we are continuing to be on the cutting edge of these storytellers and these brands. And you've got all these great people on your team and your roster. What's working now?
Honestly, I think the big thing that's always really worked for me is my ability to connect with people, to be honest. Everyone you talk to who knows me, like if they came on this show, it'd be like, Ashley is a queen of networking. Like it's literally like they have like given me that nickname. Every time like I'll bring a friend to brunch or something, I'll have like 5 other people show up and they're like, how do you know Ashley? How do you know Ashley? And it'll be the most random stories of how we met, whether it was in a store or like we were talking at an event or the bus or something. They'll be like, yep, that sounds about right. Like she would be that person who would bring people together. And I think I've always been really proud of that because honestly, I really didn't realize that's what I was doing until people continuously like would say that. Like you really bring people together, and it's always like the perfect mesh of people too. It's easy to talk to these people, and it's not awkward or weird. So I think I've really utilized that to be able to connect with brands and to be able to just genuinely just connect with others. Even if I haven't been able to do a project or something, just being able to connect people that I know could do it. Or if they needed like an entertainment lawyer or a chef or, I have so many people that I know now that it's like, oh, I know someone for that. So yeah, that's been a big thing that's been working for me for sure.
We know that, right, Priscilla? Like the idea of like the team, the people you hire, you're only as good as them, and you could be pulled down by one person who's not the right fit.
Yes.
Can I ask you about then? What's that, Priscilla?
And the power of relationships.
Yeah, power of relationships. That's right. When you said on the bus, I'm like, yeah, we know that too. We're always just like meeting people and finding. And can I ask you this about filtering or like your hiring process? What are things you notice that really turn you on toward a creative collaborator? Like, oh, this is what I'm looking for, or those red flags that we should be aware of that you have, figured out along the way in your experience from the past?
Yeah, right. I definitely do a lot of research for sure, or as much as I can before going into that process, and also just making sure, I can see everything up front as much as possible. There's, as we know, a lot of people in the industry who kind of make things up or, talk a lot of talk, and it's just like they do not have anything to back it up. And I think after, almost 15 plus years of being in this industry, it's kind of like, you just catch on really quickly to that as well. I feel like with the people that I've met, I instantly know if it's gonna happen or not, or if it's a vibe. If it's not, I definitely can sense it. It's just like a gut thing, to be honest. It's more so how the person's talking, if they're being very direct, if they're being very, upfront, if they're quick about their answers in regards to what they've done. So I kind of really look at those things, and just their passion too, about what they want, what their values are, why they want to be in this crazy industry. I think it has to be bigger than, I just want to be on the red carpet and win an award. Yeah, the money, the corporate crap. I'm definitely not that person. I want to, make purposeful things, and that's what our company does. And I don't want to stray from that. So I definitely pay attention to that, even with clients. when I'm interviewing clients, even while they're interviewing us of what we've done. We really try to do our research on their background, what they've said, even on the internet and stuff, just making sure it's going to be an actual good alignment. And we're just not working with anyone who may be, supporting something that's just like heinous or, not great, but putting like, oh, we're positive vibes on our brand. It's like, you can't be both. So I, even with that, with vetting clients, I definitely look for those red flags of what are you doing and what are your values.
And we love that. And thank you for sharing that. Now, for your production company, because you've had it since college and we've been a little out of college for a while now, what are some things that you've done to weather the storm as a business? Because, we have, like, you have these big moments like having a Dove campaign and being Emmy nominated, but how many months is it until you get your next project? And then do you go reaching out to clients? Like, what is your process to weather storms or dry spells as a business?
Definitely. I mean, like I said, lots of connecting with people. I'll definitely always just honestly hit people up that I really know and be like, hey, if you have anything coming down the pipeline or know someone who does, please feel free to send them, our way. We have a couple things open right now. So that definitely has always helped me. Honestly, up until this year, our business has really thrived on the power of referrals.
Nice.
And we haven't really had to do a bunch of outreach cold, which has been nice. We are now trying to implement that strategy into our business, and also, playing around with the ideas of doing funnels and all of that good stuff and learning how to tap into that world.
Okay.
So that's currently what we're working on for this next phase of business. But yeah, the past few years, honestly, were a blessing. Even through COVID, it was like, just got really blessed to have people who are still casting and, working on projects, because things didn't really stop for commercial. They just transitioned to online, which we know. So that was huge. So I got to direct and I got to cast many projects for many brands virtually for all of that time, which was great.
Awesome. That is good.
Yes. Honestly, that was, honestly, for real.
Actually, we both, Crystal and I, sync on faith conversations too. So it's fun.
Love it.
We're synced up. Yeah. So those of you who are listening or not, might know or not, but both Crystal and I come from this faith background, and, I know it's not everybody's jam and it's not everybody's, need to even discuss those types of things, nor do we ever push it on. But I love being able to have conversations about, like, what I heard you saying is we need to pay our bills. We want to make money, but that's not really why. We believe there's bigger purposes to our work. And we believe, representation and seeing people, and you especially seeing healing come from trauma, and you using your own experiences. And obviously there's the racial equity and diversity challenge in our business that has been highlighted over the past 4 years, that there's still small, not big enough advances yet. So I guess I want to ask you about, when you're thinking about your future, are there really some ambitious kind of goals that you have around some of the work you're trying to get? I mean, we all do, I know, and sometimes I'm just taking what I can get sometimes because right. But do you have any kind of, like, if you would share, are there any things that you're like, what are the dreams, what are the hopes next for visionary women and for your own work, casting, producing, acting? I mean, you got a lot of stuff going on. What's some of the hopes?
Yeah. So we do have 2 features in development.
Woohoo!
Well, one was supposed to be a short that I was writing, but everybody overwhelmingly came back and said it needed to be a feature. So, which is good. It just had so much busting off the pages that people wanted more, which is a great thing. So that's a supernatural thriller. It's called Verge of Remembrance. It will be bringing light in a very Inception type way in regards to PTSD. And because I was diagnosed with that when I was 24. So it will be based off of some fragments moments of my life in regards to that. And then The Reckoning is another feature we'll be working on, which is heavily based on my life. It will be on the year after my last suicide attempt and what happened during that year, which Cliff Notes version, I ended up going on a random road trip cross country with a stranger. Yeah, perfect photo because that was on my road trip.
Oh, wow.
It was actually the second time I went to Montana, but the first time, I ended up going on a cross country trip with this random girl who I barely knew, and it ended up being a very spiritual and awesome experience that I'll never forget.
I love that. That's so awesome. The unexpected when you take a risk.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I'm excited about both of them. And I think they both have a lot of promise to bring a lot of heart and healing, hopefully, to many people, and also just raise awareness in regards to everything that's going on right now with, suicide rates going up and, people feeling hopeless. That's a huge thing that I'm passionate about as well, is just using my story to show people that, it's hard, when you're trying to unpack trauma, like it's not easy, but, you can see better days. It's always a work in progress. And that's what this particular film will show.
Well, you got some collaborator partners if you need them on the West Coast now. And there is some fun synergy. Priscilla made a short film called The Reckoning. So
Oh my God. I was excited when I heard the title. I was like, excited. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Mine is different though. So I still can't wait to see your feature and go through the journey of your character that you give us. But I was like, The Reckoning.
Yes, I love that. I love it. Yeah. So those are two big projects.
That's great.
We're currently working on.
So if you are listening and or watching episode 218 here of the BraveMaker podcast, we want you to go and follow Ashley Lauren Official on Instagram. She's got so many things going on, so many ways that you can connect. And I love this part of our industry, especially the positive side of social media, is that there really is some cool things that can happen. Like we really can make connections and collaborate. You just never know, So you see the clips from the show of Ashley Lauren and you follow her social media and you connect to BraveMaker, just tell her you found her here, and who knows, maybe you hire her for a consultant, which, by the way, intimacy coordinators and consultants on PTSD and child sexual assault and all of the trauma-based stories that are happening in the world are so necessary. This work that Lauren is doing is so needed. It's really, I think, the future of what our industry is going to be seeing, more of what you're doing.
Yeah.
Ashley Lauren. So thank you so much for being able to share that. And I'm just thinking, like, now I know someone who does it. So when and if I have that in my film projects, I will be knowing who to call.
Yeah, so that'd be amazing. I'd love that.
Yeah. Well, don't go away. We will do our final segment of the show, which is called Brave Fave.
Brave Faves. TV shows, films, books, songs, technology, clothing, podcast, food, and more. These are a few of our favorite people, places, and things. Brave Faves.
All right, so my Brave Fave is a film that came out of Sundance in 2023. So a year ago, this was at the Sundance Film Festival. It is now available for you to watch on VOD, and I loved it. It is a great indie film by a filmmaker named Celine Song. It is called Past Lives. And I, as an indie filmmaker, thought, oh my gosh, this is so cool, because it's this really small, intimate story told in a really beautiful way about these childhood friends that reconnect 12 years after they move away, and then 12 years again when they're like adults and one of them is married. And it's very conversational. It's shot so beautifully. It's New York City. Ashley Lauren, if you haven't seen it, I think you would like it too, just for that. But it hits you right in the feels. So check it out. A lot of Oscar buzz potential for this filmmaker, and I was inspired in my own filmmaking by watching it. It's called Past Lives by Celine Song. What do you have, Priscilla?
I am going to go to a hair product. I want to shout out Tabitha Brown for making Donna's recipe. I have been using it, and I love the product. I have the shampoo, I have the conditioner, and I have the leave-in conditioner. So I want to shout out Donna's recipe. I feel like it's a great hair product if you want to try it.
Nice. Okay, we'll get that out there. What about you, Ashley Lauren?
Oh my gosh. I feel like I have so many. I feel like one definitely would be Mariah Carey's memoir, to be honest. I absolutely loved it. That was one of my favorite reads of this year. Such a powerful story that I can relate to in a lot of ways. And I just really saw a lot of myself in her. And it was just really cool. Once again, another person, I think, that's so inspirational, that I think people don't really realize how much she's been through and what she's gotten through to be who she is. And I mean, she's just incredible. So yeah, yes, the meaning of Mariah Carey. I definitely suggest everyone take a listen or a read to it because it's really great.
Hey.
Cool. Good stuff. All different. 3 different things. You got a movie, you got some hair products, and you got a memoir by the Queen of Christmas, right? So Mariah, she's not doing so shabby. I love it. That's great. Well, Ashley Lauren, thank you so much for being on the show with Priscilla and me. This has been so encouraging. And again, we just are always open for connection and reconnection. And who knows when and if we might be in New York City or you might be on the West Coast. We will stay connected. Thank you to your connection and manager or partner, Danny, who got you connected to BraveMaker. We're very grateful for that. But don't go away. Everybody else, thank you so much for watching or listening to episode 218. Can't do this without you and your support. We are a nonprofit, and that means you can support us. You can go to bravemaker.com/donate and give $5, $10, $25 more. That helps us do things like pay for our streaming services, help us with our BraveMaker Acting Academy or our BraveMaker Film Fest coming July 11th. Mark your calendars through the 14th. Maybe the Reckoning feature film will be in the BraveMaker Film Fest 2025, 2026, whenever that's done. You never know. So please consider becoming a donor. 35 people every month give us any amount because it all helps us do this work. You can also text the word BraveMaker to 44321. Just text the word BraveMaker to 44321. And that helps us also pay for things like editing the podcast with our editor, Barnell Amos, out of Grand Rapids, Michigan, our social media manager. Thank you, Carrie Alley, who does our postings, and our intern, Jessica Cohen, who will take clips from today's conversation with Ashley Lauren and edit them into small little bite-sized things that you can share on the grams. And of course, my producer, Amy Cohen, who makes everything happen behind the scenes. So thank you so much, everybody, for being a part. My co-host, Priscilla Lamb. We are going to Sundance. We have a few spots left. If you'd like to come, you can just DM us. We are so easy to find on the places. Priscilla, where can people find you?
At Miss Priscilla Lamb on Instagram, right here on the thing. Perfect.
Yeah. Thank you. And what about you, Ashley Lauren? Where can people find you?
Yes, Ashley Lauren Official on Instagram and AshleyLauren.official on TikTok.
Beautiful. Oh, TikTok. The TikTok. And you can find me at Tony Gaffasone on all the places. Thank you so much, you two beautiful people, for hanging out with me. And everybody else, thank you for listening and watching. And episode 218, Brave Stories Change the World, and you are the story. Until next time. Bye, everybody. Bye.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at BraveMaker.org. Like, subscribe, and share. To become a monthly donor, text the word BraveMaker to 44321 or go to bravemaker.com/donate. Thanks for tuning in.